everyone, I am Zazubaar, and welcome to the 39th episode of the Demons from Outer Space, I think?
Sounds good to me.
I think? Yeah, because there's 39 episodes in the playlist, and we have one extra one because we did the bonus content for episode 10. So welcome to episode 39 of the Demons from Outer Space.
I'm pretty sure number 38 was the one with all the Alan Moore.
Yeah. The Demons from Outer Space 38, The Return.
The Return.
Kidnapped Frank Miller to record that podcast. My Alan Moore impression is suffering. Hang on, I gotta get back into it. Right, so we record... No, that's not it.
To be perfectly honest, mine's more of an imitation of these space ducks from an episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog.
You sound more like... Oh, I remember that. You sound more like, like John Lennon.
Yeah, a little bit.
Right. So we're recording the fucking podcast about the Demons from Outer Space. That's Australian. I can't... Dylan, I lost my Alan Moore impression. I don't know what to do with my life now.
Which is sad because we went on for like another hour after the show was over. And like...
We were like...
And then we were the people that like invented... And we were the people who invented Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And like...
But that was off recording.
Right, and there was something to do with, like, toilet paper? I don't remember.
They didn't get the best part of that conversation, unfortunately. Dylan and I had,
we went on to invent decorative bum paper, and...
Right. With the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on, I can't... What happened? Why can't I do my impression anymore?
You need to go listen to the last episode and just, like, get back into the swing.
Hang on, I gotta talk lower. I think I'm trying to talk too high. Right. So, we were like writing Watchmen, we were. And we came up with...
Return.
We were writing Watchmen 3, The Return, and then we created the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And we wrote it on bum paper. For those of you who didn't hear, everybody who didn't hear that conversation.
Everybody who's not me or Bill.
Right, so everybody else on this planet, or everybody listening, all 150 of you, because that's about our listenership now.
Yeah.
What was I saying?
You were explaining...
You know what, Ian's fucking impression of the show is right. I introduced an idea, and then I just completely forget what I was saying.
You were talking about the bum paper conversation.
I remember now. So, we were talking about Alan Moore.
So now I'm getting like a Michael Caine thing. When I was in Burma.
A long time ago when I was in Burma, writing Watchmen 3, The Return.
I found a plot hole the size of a tangerine.
How'd you get rid of it? We burnt the forest down. How did that help?
All the paper was gone.
So the whole story was one big plot hole.
You couldn't have just thrown it in the trash can? Oh, shit.
Didn't think about that.
Probably could have.
Wait a minute. In Dark Knight, doesn't that make Alfred like a fucking eco-terrorist if he burnt down a whole rainforest?
Yes, he does. We need a Poison Ivy sequel.
Yeah, fuck Batfleck. Let's just have Dark Knight 4 with Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Batman fighting Poison Ivy.
No, man, it's got to be Alfred versus Poison Ivy.
Alfred, in like a James Bond type of situation.
She remembers that he burnt the forest down. Maybe they adapt the episode of TAS where she was turning people into trees.
When was that a thing? Oh, was that the episode with Alfred in it, where he was like going on a vacation?
Yeah, him and like his girlfriend, like they went to.
Yeah, his old ass bitch. Yeah, he fucked right in the pussy.
They fucked her right in the pussy. They went to this resort.
They fucked, right? They had to have fucked.
I mean, they didn't show that. Much to my dismay.
But, yeah, I was disappointed when they didn't show two old people having sex.
No, but yeah, Poison Ivy was turning people into trees through the magic of pseudoscience. And
yeah, I mean, she was making kids out of fucking like plants.
Poison Ivy is fucked up in that show.
She is really fucked up.
She's really fucking creepy. Like,
she does not give a shit in that show.
Like, these are the two versions of Poison Ivy that I had growing up. There was the cartoon version who was just this insane, creepy-ass bitch. And then there was the movie version who wrestled my jimmies.
Yeah, really wrestled your jimmies. But not in the good way. Well, do you find Uma Thurman hot? Because I don't.
There are moments in Batman and Robin where she kind of sells it, but as just a person, no, not really.
I don't find her very attractive. Now listen, I'm not saying she's ugly. I'm just saying, as a man, as a person with my own personal preferences, I don't find her attractive.
There are also moments in
Sorry.
There are also moments in Kill Bill where it's like, whoa, she just plucked that dude's eye out with her bare hands. That's fucking hot.
What? That gave me a boner, man. Man, so I was sitting in my record store, man, watching Kill Bill Volume 2. Wow, you were watching Kill Bill Volume 2 in the 70s? Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, and it got me thinking, wouldn't it be awesome if, we owned a record store, man?
We do own a record store, Leo.
Awesome,
that's awesome, man.
Whoa.
Dylan, I don't even think I introduced you yet.
I don't think you did.
So joining me as always, Super DM64.
I never know what to say in these things. Fuck her right in the pussy.
Fuck her right in the pussy. So I don't know what we were talking about. I don't care. Ultimately.
We were rambling about the stuff that went down last episode. And
yeah. Well, basically what happened was, after we stopped recording, was we, portrayed Eastman and Laird, who are the creators of the Ninja Turtles, as if they were being played by Alan Moore in a movie, and they were just pitching the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to Mirage Comics.
What we have in reality are two brilliant satirical people they're from New York, aren't they?
Yeah, they're from New York.
Who created this American icon. We portrayed them as crazy British people.
Who wrote the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic on toilet paper.
Because they got the idea right when they were sitting in the toilet. In the loo, I guess they would say.
Yeah, the loo, yeah.
And then they realized that the toilet paper was just very boring. And so they decided to make decorative bum paper.
Right, decorative bum paper. So when you're sitting on the toilet, right, you can reach over, and there's just some comics on the toilet, on the bum paper. You can just pull it down, and you've got comics. You're just telling a story about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with Casey Jones.
You can read our writing, and then you'll be really impressed, and then you'll wipe your bum with it. And
it's fine because you could still read it afterwards. Because you can read on. Just don't. You wipe your shite on the panels that you've already read, right?
The problem is sometimes it gets hard to tell what's a ninja and what's a shit stain.
Right. We were sitting in our apartment, right, a flat, and we were looking at some bum paper that we had put in the bathroom in the loo, and I looked at Kevin and I went, Kevin, mate, is that a ninja or is that a poo stain?
Needless to say, we've taken up the habit of sniffing our comics.
What?
It's the only way to know for sure.
Right. The problem is, right, we use markers to colour in the images that smell like poop. Which makes it a big problem in order to find out if it's really a ninja or if it's shite.
It's a vicious circle.
It's problematic, I'll tell you. We're trying to create this revolutionary invention that will change the world forever, and we can't get our ninjas from our shit straight.
I'm starting to think we might be all 6s and 7s.
I don't know, right? It's crazy, mate. It's crazy, mate. What was I saying?
So that was what happened after we recorded last episode.
It was great, and you should feel bad for missing it.
The original conversation was much better than that.
Yeah, it was. Well, because it was more natural. I don't like recreating conversations like that because it's not as funny. I'm pretty sure everybody listening is that is the most unfunny thing I've ever heard. But when we were doing it as a conversation, it was fucking hysterical.
Because you gotta think, what conversation leads to that developing naturally?
Yeah, but there was one. Like, we're not too... Well, I mean, we are crazy, but we're not irrational people who just spout nonsense. And, like, there's no natural place it comes from. If you listen to our podcast and, like, you think back on some of our most, like some of the bits we call back to, like, Piss Pants, Orca Torture, it's, like, all this stuff, it's fun to go back and listen. You can see the development of this stuff. Like, I was re-listening to, the podcast where we came up with Odyssey recently. By the way, issue 2 available now on fanfiction.net. Link in the description. Battle for West City.
Go read it. Go like it.
Go read it. Written, of course, by Dylan McCandless.
After you're done, read it again. Like it again.
Yeah. Please, well, not please. Like, please, if you don't do this, you're an asshole. Now, if you would be so kind, we'd love to, for those of you who are registered members of fanfiction.net, write some reviews for us. We'd love to get some feedback, constructive.
We got like 4 or 5 reviews on the last one. Most of them were very basic. We did have one really good one.
We had one great one. Yeah.
And as of now, we've had one on the second chapter, which is another basic, like, good job.
Right, which is fine. That's fantastic. Thank you.
If you just want to leave a comment like that, that's fine. But we would love some more detailed, intelligent feedback.
Because that's ultimately kind of why we're doing this. I mean, we're both writers, and of course, the ultimate goal was to entertain ourselves and entertain our the readers, and kind of just like this all came from like, this is a great Godzilla story, and we want to tell it because nobody else is going to tell it.
It's like, look, we just want to get better at the writing thing, so that one day we can make it in the writing game and eventually go crazy and retire to the cabin for misery.
Yes, exactly. We can write Watchmen 3: The Return.
And worship my serpent god, which is just a euphemism for my penis.
Right, and I'll worship him, and I'll buy back Watchmen. That's my go-to line if I have to recapture the impression. I'll pray to my serpent god, and I'll buy back Watchmen. Because that's like the line I remember from episode 38. The one who roars.
The one I remember is, "Whoa!
Whoa!" And I love how it's Jim Gordon from Gotham who said that.
Right.
Did you watch episode 2?
Where have you been? I came back from the whoa! I did watch it.
Hey, Jim, I'm Harvey. Hey, Harvey, I'm Jim. So, tell me where you come from. I traveled around a bit. I came from the whoa!
I did watch episode 2, and I'm loving how vicious this penguin is.
I haven't seen it yet, so...
Dude, he is... You know that scene in the first one where he kills the dude over the sandwich?
Yeah.
Yeah, the dude has snapped now. He is just straight up, like, vicious. Like, you cross him in, like, even the slightest fashion, he's gonna cut your fucking throat. He's got a little bit of Danny DeVito in him in that way.
Yeah, no, definitely.
He hasn't bitten anybody's nose yet. I'm waiting with bated breath.
I can't wait to see it, but I haven't.
Oh, you remember how one of your complaints over the first episode was that Catwoman was just sort of there, but she didn't have any bearing on the plot.
Well, I know the episode is entirely about her this time.
Yeah, it fixes that problem because, well, there's a cliffhanger at the end, and let's just say that her involvement in the last episode is going to have some consequence. So they didn't just do it to do it.
Oh, okay. That's cool. I just haven't seen it yet. I only just watched episode 6 of Doctor Who 2 days ago? Yeah, 2 days ago. I saw The Caretaker.
The Caretaker one? Yeah.
You watched it?
I did.
So we'll talk about that. I guess we might as well get into it now. So, Caretaker, episode 6 of season 8 of Doctor Who, in which the Doctor becomes a caretaker, shockingly enough, and fights Mecha Garrett from Mass Effect. At least that's the joke that everybody's making. I don't know Mass Effect, so I'm just stealing that joke from people who know Mass Effect, but that's what everybody's been calling him. I don't remember his actual name. I know Blitzer is in it. I don't remember the first part, though. So, Dylan, thoughts on The Caretaker?
I found this episode to be thoroughly alright.
I thought it was very fun. I thought that it was greatly lacking in a plot.
That's the problem. The plot is very underwhelming. The threat is very underwhelming.
Yeah.
It's not really a huge problem because this is more of a character piece. It's about the whole situation between the Doctor and Clara and Pink advancing. So
Yeah, which this season has strangely been doing a lot. Like, the first episode, it's way more about the characters. The second one, the second one's more of an even balance.
Yeah, I think so.
And then 3 I felt was more about the characters because I thought the plot in that one was a complete ripoff of the first one.
The plot in the Robin Hood episode is completely ludicrous. It's just the banter between him and Robin Hood.
That's the thing that makes that episode worth watching. Listen, perfect balance. Well, it's kind of because the characters are the plot.
Right.
So it doesn't really even make a difference.
Time stuff I thought was more of what you expect from Doctor Who, in that it was just sort of a fun outing. It didn't.
Yeah, it was more plot driven, which is fine. And then this one was more. This one had a plot, but it almost seemed like the plot was taking time away from the characters, so they were cutting out as much of it as possible.
Right.
So it's all right, so we get a 2-second explanation for what exactly the robot. Spoilers, by the way, as always. I'll just say I liked the episode. But I agree with you, Dylan. I thought the plot was just that's it.
Yeah, the plot's a bit underwhelming, and like I said, I don't think it's a huge problem because it is more of a character piece, but it's just not my kind of episode.
I see. As a character piece, I think it's great, except for one problem, which we'll get into, I guess, in a second. But just spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen The Caretaker yet. How did they explain that the robot was attracted to something? Do you remember what it was? Why the fuck was it there?
I don't recall that explanation whatsoever. So
the doctor rattles it off in a second, and then it's oh, okay, now let's move on. I remember he said that it was actually his fault, but I have no idea why.
All I know is it's some sort of alien war machine that has come to be stranded on Earth.
It's the best killing machine in the universe.
Which I find hard to believe because Daleks exist, but whatever.
Yeah, there's no way it's better than a Dalek. Well, but the Daleks aren't machines, Dylan.
True, Dad. But their armor is. Aha!
Fair enough. I think he meant robots.
The weaponry employed by the Dalek is the greatest killing machine in the universe. But
I guess you could say that, but then you could say that about the Time Lords too.
Well, what the fuck ever.
Anyway,
the Daleks almost drove them to extinction in the Time War, so I think they win. Anyway,
fair enough. But my problem is, they set up a potentially interesting plot about. Well, you know what? It's really not even that interesting. I mean, it's not a great. It's done. This has been done a lot. They have done this kind of thing a lot.
It's very similar to The Lodger in that the plot with the alien stuff is very much in the background. It was better done in The Lodger because
I thought The Lodger had a better story.
The Lodger was a more interesting story, and it had better characters and
way creepier.
And it was more of a story of the Doctor trying to fit in with normal humans, whereas this is more. He's not really trying all that hard to fit in. He's just there undercover.
Well, it's weird because when I watched that episode, The Lodger, I was why is he having such a hard time fitting in? It's not like he's never done this before. But then it's well, each regeneration is different.
Right.
And has a harder and their personalities are more alien. And Peter Capaldi said that this Doctor is going to be the most alien Doctor. He wanted to bring out the most alien parts of the Doctor.
And you can see that here because he doesn't really try all that hard to blend in.
He doesn't care.
He doesn't try very hard to blend in at all. He's very obvious.
You ever see whenever 12 will do things, I'll just be if 10 or 11 saw you do that, they would slap you. But in a good way, where it's I like that he did that because it's something that the other Doctors wouldn't do. Eccleston might just smile, but Tennant and Smith would be are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
Writing a sign that says no humans allowed, that's not something that 10 or 11 would have done, but I buy it with 12.
And I loved it.
I love it too. Again, he's my...
The best part about this episode is the character stuff revolving around the Doctor himself. I love the moment, or the subplot really, and it's probably the most genius thing they did, where he sees the guy that works with Clara who happens to look like Matt Smith.
That was great. I loved that. He goes, reminds me of a certain young time traveler. And I was like, oh, God, that's great.
Of course, he assumes that he's the one that Clara's been dating because it looks like what he used to look like. I mean, he wears the bow tie and everything.
Right, exactly.
And that was genius. All the stuff with him is great.
Yeah. But listen, here's what I want to talk about, because this is the problem. It's a great character piece for Clara and the Doctor. I have come to the determination that Danny is a complete asshole.
Yeah.
I don't like him at all.
I just find him kind of boring.
I don't find him boring. I find him downright detestable.
I found him a little less boring in this episode because I guess he just had more to do. He wasn't just...
I just find him... He's everything... Because the whole, like, season arc with him has been, like, trying to fight this stereotype of a soldier.
Mm-hmm.
Which I get. That's fine. I think it's a very modern issue with the age of the internet and everything, and all these videos getting out of, like, people seeing soldiers do these very detestable things, and there's this very, like, anti-military kind of mentality these days. Well, I don't know if that's... I'm not saying that's true across the board. But, a lot of people don't like the military, and I think that Danny is a response to that.
We're about as close to going back to the hippie era as we've ever been.
I would say so, with the birth of the internet and everything. And I'm not taking either side. I don't, I'm just saying that that's something that the world currently seems to have. And I think that he's a response to that.
I think he's a great character in concept.
Here's the problem. He is he's fighting the stereotype, but he hasn't done anything yet that makes me like him outside of the stereotype. Because, like, I like that he's got kind of a good sense of humor, but he's super, super overdramatic. He's like a little girl. It's insane. Did you notice that? Every little thing sets him off. I don't like being lied to. I'm not stupid. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. I don't care.
I think it's interesting that they decided to give the companion a boyfriend who has an antagonistic relationship with the Doctor. Because
he's done that before, though. They did that with Mickey.
I mean, yeah, but he got over it.
And that's what they originally did with Rory. That's how Rory started out.
Right, but they both got over it a lot quicker than I think he's going to.
I don't agree. I mean, he just met him.
True, but, like... I mean, think about the end of the episode, right? It's very clear that he doesn't just distrust the Doctor. He doesn't like the Doctor on a fundamental level. He sees him as, there's that whole line where he's talking about, I've met, like, aristocrats like this guy before.
No, I've served under men like him, and I'm like, wow, that's interesting.
It's like, he's very... He just doesn't seem to like him at all, and I don't think he's going to get over it as quickly as Rory got.
I agree. I think that'll be something that's picked up upon. I'm just saying that at the current moment.
I mean, Rory got over it a lot faster than Mickey did, to be fair. I mean, it was like...
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, the thing is, it was very clear that 11 had no interest in Amy in a romantic sense. That wasn't so clear with Rose and 10.
No, and the other thing seems to be, there's a difference, like, Mickey has a reason to be mad, because Clara seems to be coming home after every adventure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Rose just disappears for months at a time.
The thing is that Russell T Davies wrote the Doctor as having a lot less control over the TARDIS.
Yeah, it just sort of pops up places.
He didn't care. He was like, whatever, it's going to pop up at this time, deal with it. 11 and 12 especially is very, like, precise with, like, we've been gone for 30 seconds. We've been gone for 2 minutes, so you haven't missed anything. So, I find that interesting. Here's the thing. I find Danny interesting in terms of his relationship with the Doctor. I just find him to be super whiny. And I don't really know why. Like, I get that he has a traumatic past. Fine. But, like, do you agree? Like, doesn't he just come off as super whiny? Like, every 6 seconds, he just turns on a dime like, I don't like being lied to. I'm not stupid, Clara. It's like, that whole sequence in Listen.
I just realized he is who your Alan Moore impression sounds like.
Yeah! Clara, I'm gonna pray to my serpent god and kill the Doctor. You can do that, Danny.
I do like the moment where he thinks for a good 5 minutes that Clara is from space.
Listen, here's the part I liked. And here is where I think you're right in saying that it's not going to be like it's been before in terms of the companion and the boyfriend and the Doctor. The scene where Clara and the Doctor explain their whole situation to him is super awkward, and it's clearly intentionally played that way. He ain't cool with it.
Well,
usually when that happens, it's done in this very whimsical way, where like it's called the TARDIS. It's bigger and the music bellows, and it's like they do these sweeping camera angles. It wasn't like that this time. It was super like Clara was like speaking really fast and trying to like get all the details that we all know out. And again, it was intentional. It wasn't like they played the scene poorly. No, they clearly did it on purpose. It's like he's not reacting to this well.
Well,
he doesn't have that kind of whimsical like, oh my god, this is magical and all that stuff. Nah, he's like, this is weird, and I don't like weird.
Yeah, and the other thing is, we know that the season-wide story of this season, right, is going to deal with the theme of determining whether or not the Doctor is a good man.
Right.
And clearly, I think, Pink has made up his mind on that issue.
Yes, and Clara is still unsure.
And I think that is going to be the personal conflict for her going forward.
I think, and I talked to my friend Richard about this, he's also a Whovian, and we were talking about how, we're talking about Danny and everything, he doesn't like Danny either. And I said to him, I was like, a lot of people are down on Stephen Moffat recently. I don't know why, but they just are. I still think that he's got something up his sleeve. And I almost wonder if he's making us not like Danny on purpose, because he's actually going to turn out to be the season's villain. Or a villain.
I don't know if he'll be the villain, but I think he's connected, he's got to be connected in some way. It's Moffat, right?
Because he keeps saying, the guy playing Danny, in interviews, I'm not a companion. I don't think he's gonna be... Because... And you know how controlling he is of Clara? It's like... I trust Moffat. I don't think he wants us to be comfortable with this, because I'm not.
I'm sure that all that stuff about his backstory and all that in Listen is there for a reason. He's going to have something to do with the plot of this season. Whether or not the character survives beyond that is an interesting question, since apparently him and Clara have descendants.
Well, they seem to have children, so at least it seems they're gonna stick together, which makes me think, because the next episode, Kill the Moon, looks like it's gonna deal with this, of, because the end of this episode is, Danny goes, if he does push you too far to do something you're not comfortable with, you have to promise me you're gonna tell me. Which was a really creepy scene. I don't know why, it almost struck...
Clara, did he touch you?
Well,
no?
Dylan, I'm telling you, that is exactly how it played to me. It almost played like a scene of somebody asking, like, a wife if, like, is he hitting you? It struck me that way. And I guess, but I don't think it was on accident. You know what I mean? I feel like it was on purpose. I think we're not supposed to be totally cool with the Doctor's actions. Which makes me think that, one or two things is going to happen. The Doctor is going to go through some kind of arc of figuring out he's not a good man and then changing that, or go through the arc of realizing that he is, and that that Danny is looking at him in the wrong way or something. I don't know. There's something weird going on with this relationship, and I'd love to know what it is.
Right. I mean, it's a theme that Moffat's been playing with ever since he took over the show. I mean, there was always the occasional mention during the Matt Smith era about how he goes gallivanting around the universe and pretending that, like, everything he's doing is fine, but leaving behind just a path of destruction.
It's true. That was what that whole Good Man Goes to War subplot was about.
So, I mean...
And also, the scene that I think in Ten's run that did that well was in the Family of Blood two-parter.
Mm-hmm.
When he goes back to that woman who John Smith was fucking around with, and no, they weren't fucking around. I'm kidding. Well, who they were romantically interested in each other.
Fucked her right.
And he fucked her right in the pussy. And he goes back as the Doctor and says, "Come with me," and she just asks him, "Would all those people be dead now if you hadn't chosen this location as your cover on a whim?" And the Doctor just walks out.
I don't understand why he didn't just go, "Yeah, they would. Come on. Let's go."
Well, because I think he's not sure. Because it's like, he did this for self-preservation, remember?
Right.
So, it's kind of questionable of like, hey, dude, a lot of people died because you picked this specific spot. It's questionable. I think that we're supposed to question. I have a feeling it's going to be like that this season, which I find very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that I'm not sure how exactly we're supposed to feel about Danny. All I know is that me personally right now, I don't like him.
Right.
I'm conflicted on whether or not we're supposed to.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking I don't really like him, but I'm also thinking I'm not supposed to like him.
I have a feeling. And I almost wonder if part of it is like, we inherently are going to root for the Doctor because of what the show's called and of who the protagonist is. Even if the character questioning him is right. It's almost like a Gamera 3 thing where it's like, this character is totally right to hate Gamera, but I love Gamera, so I can't feel that way. It's almost like an Ayana thing. I mean, I like Ayana more than I like Danny, but...
It's like in Breaking Bad, when you're like, "Look, Skylar, you were totally right about this, but you were a bitch."
Right, exactly. Well, I think it's more ambiguous than that, because at least in that we know that what the things that Walter White is doing is like this is completely morally wrong. With the Doctor, I think it's a little bit more ambiguous, but it's still a similar situation.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from all that heavy stuff, it is a fun episode.
The other big reveal, and this might seem like a non-important detail, but I like to take all of these things in. We now know that there is more than one person in the afterlife.
Yeah, we do, at the end.
What this means, who the fuck knows? It's Moffat.
I still have no idea. Oh, well, that's your thing with everything. Who the fuck knows? It's Moffat. Deal with it. Just wait.
Yeah, I mean, I could have never predicted the way season 6 played out, right? Like,
True. It's like every single time it's like, so what do you think this means? It's like, don't worry about it. It's Moffat. Just wait. Do you think, and this is speculating, this isn't a spoiler or anything, do you think that this is connected to Gallifrey at all? All this heaven stuff?
I mean, it could be. I haven't really seen any evidence to either support or dispute that theory, so...
The thing I keep hearing is that in the first or second time we see Missy in the afterlife, in the Promised Land, the fountain in the middle of it looks like a TARDIS console. And that's the thing that everybody's pointing to, like, oh, we're on Gallifrey, or oh, this is something to do with the Time Lords. Which, listen, I think it's got to at some point anyway. Because, like, the last two episodes, the last two stories before the regeneration was all about, hey, we brought Gallifrey back. That's a big deal, right? So, it's like, we have to address that, and we can't just let it hang for too long. And we've had, this whole season has really not mentioned it at all yet, so I'm assuming it's got to have something to do with it in that way.
The other thing is, there's no way of telling how long they're going to hang on to that, though. Again, it is Moffat.
Yeah.
They waited until the end of Season 7 to... Or no, not even the end of Season 7. They waited until right before the regeneration to very casually exposit, hey, this is why the TARDIS blew up. Oh, okay. That was bothering me for
that
a
was
while.
that was something that was in Matt Smith's first episode.
So, I mean, it's hard to say, really.
It's very hard to say. It's complicated.
I just don't know if we're dealing with like a fake heaven type deal, or if she is some sort of physical representation of death.
They've done heaven and hell in Doctor Who before.
Right, but they could always contradict it.
Yeah, no, totally. But I'm just saying that like, I don't know. It's interesting. I don't think it's just heaven. I don't think we're actually looking at heaven. I don't know. It's complicated. I'd love to know what exactly is going on. I'm very excited. But in terms of this episode overall, it's just really like the Doctor is amazing as always. Like Peter Capaldi to me is just so much fun, so interesting in his performance. I loved the reference to River.
Yeah, that was great.
River and I had this big fight
when he was talking about how he lived among otters for like 4 months.
Yeah, human beings are not otters. Right, so it'll be even easier. I love that. It's just so well delivered, and it's one of the funniest scenes I've ever seen in Doctor Who.
I just love the mental image because
I lived amongst otters once for a month. How did he live amongst otters?
I imagine that had to be one of the that had to have happened during one of those big time jumps during Eleven's run. So I just picture Matt.
Oh yeah, it's clearly 11.
So I just picture Matt Smith out in the forest living amongst the otters.
Yes. Just him like sitting on a rock, just surrounded by otters staring at him. He's just crying.
This is the episode that I want. Dances with Otters, right? And like
with otters.
You do it as the next crossover special. It's like, finally, the events of the otter stuff will be revealed.
An entire episode about otters. Is man truly at heart an otter? Or no, is a Time Lord truly at hearts an otter?
Yeah. Is my answer to that question. No science to back that up. That's just my...
Science for Time Lords, yeah.
That's just my assumption. That
I have no scientific basis in saying that Time Lords have otters inside of their hearts.
I'm just saying that without any evidence to back it up at all, I would like to posit the theory that Time Lords evolved from animals that are similar to Earth otters.
I mean, seeing how they're basically people, but with two hearts, I don't think that that's really possible, but, you know, I don't judge.
It's aliens, man. It's Moffat.
It's aliens and it's Moffat. Yes, that's your explanation for everything. Listen, Time Lords are otters. Deal with it. Well, Dylan, here's the thing I wanted to ask you. It's something I was thinking about recently. You know in Listen how they do the flashback to the Doctor's childhood?
Right.
And they go into that barn, and who I guess are supposed to be the Doctor's parents, or like...
And my question is, they have a barn?
Yeah, it's so low-tech. It's like, what the fuck?
Also, is going to Gallifrey no longer time-locked because of the events of what happened in Day of the whatever?
No, going... Oh, that's a good question. Ooh.
Because it was no longer destroyed by the moment, so I guess now you can travel back to Gallifrey's past, couldn't you? Before it got frozen in the other dimension, like you have to be able to because they did.
That was the whole reason why he never could like go back before that.
Right. Like it was always, well, you have a time machine, why not just go back to a different point in Gallifrey's history? And it's like, oh,
it'd be like, hey guys, at some point we're gonna have a big war with the Daleks, and I'm gonna blow you all up. Let's not have that happen.
It's like, oh, it's time locked. Oh, time locks. Well, that sounds very official.
Yeah, but now it's like...
hey, we went to your childhood, and you had a barn, and apparently that barn is the shack that he was in Day of the Doctor when he blew up all the Time Lords. So apparently that desert was on Gallifrey somewhere, which makes me wonder, because I'd always just assumed that he took the moment to a different planet to push the button. But apparently...
Yeah, I guess that's on Gallifrey.
It has...
Well, wouldn't it have to be on Gallifrey, though?
I don't see why.
Well, where would he be then? I guess he could be on one of the moons.
It could be a moon, the nearest desert planet. I mean...
Right. Well, we also know that the moment has a conscience, so it's like... We know it's not just a big bomb.
Right.
We know it's some kind of sentient thing.
So he could conceivably take it to another planet and then tell it to destroy Gallifrey. Like it's not.
I also love how this thing that can destroy galaxies is made out of wood.
Right.
and looks like a big watch. It's great.
Maybe there's a reason for that, because sonic screwdrivers don't do wood. Maybe it's made out of wood so that people can't tamper with it.
I assume so. I assume there's some big pseudoscientific explanation. Because you know what, it's Moffat.
Because if you make it out of wood, then Time Lords and the aliens from Signs cannot mess with it.
Exactly. Precisely. Put it near a body of water, aliens from Signs are fucked.
Stand by it with a baseball bat.
Yeah.
These shittiest aliens ever.
Swing away, Meryl.
They're so bad at their job.
Listen, Dylan, here's what I want. I want the Doctor to go to the time, to, like, cross over with Signs. Just go in the living room and be like, guys, seriously? Are you fucking kidding me? Because they'd be able to understand him because he's, he's TARDIS.
The aliens are like, well, can you do wood? And he's like, oh, well.
Well, I can open a fucking door. I just can't unlock it with this thing. You guys are just confused by wood. You didn't even bring weapons. What the fuck is wrong with you?
They're terrible aliens.
Listen.
If they're hurt by water, why did they invade a planet that's 70% water?
Listen, aliens, sign aliens. Just leave right now. Because if you don't, I am going to just wipe out your whole race. I'm going to go back in time to the moment when your race evolved, and I'm just going to fucking step on the germ that you came from.
And I mean, I wouldn't have to do that because the humans are going to do a pretty good job of wiping you out anyway, since you're so shitty at your jobs. But I'm going to do it anyway.
Listen, you've made me so mad by how fucking incompetent you are that I'm gonna do that. And I want you to come with me and watch me do it, because that'll be like some time paradox bullshit. And that is how mad you've made me. I am literally gonna break the laws of time and reality just so I can fuck you over. That is how mad and how incompetent you are.
I like this version of the Doctor we're writing right now.
This is the Brooklyn Doctor.
He's
a little more cutthroat.
I like a homicidal Doctor.
Listen, I'm just gonna fucking step on you, and you're gonna be dead. Forget about it.
Look, it's nothing personal. You're just gonna be sleeping with the fishes.
You're just gonna be dead. I'm gonna put some cement shoes on your fucking germ ancestors. I'm gonna throw him in a lake. He's gonna be dead. Forget about it. You know what I'm saying?
Alright, I'm just going to go back in time, step on a butterfly, boom, America's run by a dictator. What you going to do?
What are you forget about it. So that is the new Doctor Who story by Dylan McCandless and Bill Wurster. Series 9 of Doctor Who. Featuring Joe Pesci as the Doctor.
This is why we don't write professionally.
Yes, that's exactly it, because we write shit like this. Stephen Moffat's listening, just like, oh, I'm looking for some input from some fans. That's how he talks. Ooh, this is an interesting idea. Ooh, the Doctor is threatening to wipe out an entire species because their incompetence bothered him. I have no idea what we're talking about. So let's just move on.
Who?
Well, let's just wrap up on that. So I enjoyed this episode. I just thought that it was lacking in a story.
Yeah.
And I thought it was lacking in me liking Danny. But I guess, I don't know, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to yet.
As I said, I found it thoroughly alright.
Yeah. Totally. The next one looks fucking amazing. I am so on board with the next one.
Yeah, me too. So I would give... What's this episode called?
The Caretaker?
The Caretaker. One thumb half-heartedly up.
Really? I'd give it a strong pat on the back. I'd be like, good on you, mate. So that's what I'd be like.
That's what it gets, yes. This gets a good on you, mate.
Right, exactly. You thoroughly tickled my pickle.
Alright.
Alright.
Fuck her right in the pussy.
Alright, Pilgrim. So changing gears, I guess. Dylan, there are other things I wanted to discuss in terms of pop culture. So, you hear about this fucking new King Kong show?
I read a post on Facebook about it. That's.
Did you read the article?
No.
Let's read this together, shall we? Let me just get it up here. I have it on my timeline somewhere.
Oh, fun.
We can have running commentary on this, if you would indulge me. So, for those of you who don't know, Netflix has just announced in their long string of doing new Netflix exclusive content. You know, they had House of Cards. They have an anime now, The Knights of Sionia or whatever it's called. They also have Orange is the New Black, Hemlock Grove. They have a Turbo cartoon, and of course they're getting a bunch of Marvel series in the coming year. But they're also apparently going to do a King Kong cartoon. That's going to be a Netflix exclusive.
Because that's always worked out so well in the past.
Yeah, King Kong cartoons have infamously been amazing. Now, there have been two cartoons bearing the name of King Kong in history.
Wasn't there also a cartoon movie?
There was. We don't speak of that, Dylan.
I just
no, but
did.
you're all right. There are technically 3 pieces of animation that bear the name King Kong. You have the 1960s King Kong show, which was put out by Rankin Bass.
And is famous, of course, for inspiring King Kong escapes.
Right, and it is thoroughly terrible. It is almost unwatchable, I would say. It makes Hanna-Barbera Godzilla look like a piece of art, which is really something to write home about. Have you seen it?
No.
It's pretty shitty. It's not great, I'll be honest.
I've seen stills, and the animation doesn't seem very impressive.
It has an awesome theme song, which is something that can be said for Godzilla Hanna-Barbera too. So that's not necessarily saying something.
No, it's not saying much about for cartoons. You know, awesome.
No, it's really not, which is interesting. But anyway, so let's take a look at this, shall we? So I have the article open here, which is on comicbookmovie.com. Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah.
All right. Now, the image here is the first thing that struck me, because it has the Entertainment Weekly watermark on it. And I thought this was fan art, but I guess it's not. I guess it's an official piece of art, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming this is is a cover for like an upcoming issue of Entertainment Weekly, I guess, maybe.
And if it is, Kong looks awful.
Yeah, pretty bad. I mean, it's
He looks just like he did in the original 60s show. By the way, for those of you wondering, the show is called Kong, King of the Apes. Let's just read the article, and we'll talk about the picture afterwards, and we can do run.
The new show is called Kong, King of the Apes?
Yeah. And for those of you who haven't seen the image, it's a blue. Just look up images of King Kong from the 60s cartoon, and it looks pretty much like that. He's blue.
King Kong himself looks a little blue, which I think is just the moonlight reflecting on him.
Nah, he looks pretty blue, though. He's also really fat.
He's pretty derpy.
Yeah, he doesn't look like King Kong as much as he looks like Magilla the Gorilla.
I mean, I don't mind the fat aspect, because anytime I see a gorilla design that has that sort of potbelly thing going on, I just find that to be an example of realism, because gorillas really do look like that. But then there's that face.
Yeah, he just doesn't look like a gorilla to me. He looks like fucking Magilla. But he also looks fucking enormous. Look how big he is.
12 years of Magilla, huh? I mean,
like, he's got to be 70 feet, I'm thinking.
Let's see. If we assume that all of these people who are interacting with him in the picture are like average human height, so like what, 5 to 6 feet?
5 to 6 feet.
Then I don't know. It's hard
He's enormous. If you think about Fay Wray in the original, he could put his hand around her, like close his grip, and her head and her arms and her feet would stick out.
Right.
If he closed his arm, they'd be dead. You wouldn't be able to see them.
Yeah. If he's gonna fight
enormous.
If he's gonna fight T-Rexes in these shows, they're gonna be pretty badass T-Rexes.
Well, that's it. He's gonna. Let's just read the plot synopsis. So, basically, here's the lowdown. So apparently this artwork is official. It's actually from the cartoon, so that's what it's gonna look like. And I'm not impressed.
I've seen better.
Yeah. So.
I've seen better drawings on my toilet paper.
On your bum paper.
On my bum paper.
So I went to Netflix. I pitched this King Kong show, which was going to be played on bum paper.
But I wanted to do it like the old school projection way, right?
Right. So you're going to take bum paper.
Except instead of film, we would have reels of bum paper.
Which they were like, Alan, that's really, really not going to work. And I was like, what?
They were like, the light isn't gonna, it's not transparent enough. And I was like, no, see what you did?
It's also extremely flammable.
Like, well, to be fair, so is old film stock.
Yeah, but not as much as fucking toilet paper.
Hey, movie studio.
Being someone who's like interacted with film cameras before, I've never shot with one, but I've seen them up close and I see how you load the film stock. They're pretty fucking complicated contraptions, and they're pretty specifically designed. You can't just load toilet paper in there.
Say, Universal, what happened to some of your old silent movies that are now lost? Well, I'll tell you, they exploded.
It's not just the flammable nature of it, Dylan. It's also the fact that it's fucking toilet paper. It would get caught up in the fucking reels.
You have to design a specially built toilet paper camera.
But wait a minute, you wouldn't even be able to expose it because it's fucking toilet paper.
And you would have special cues for it, like, okay, we're going to shoot on the bum roll.
Right. It would literally be the most asinine invention ever, just so you could say you did it.
And for the light,
I invented a camera that runs on toilet paper.
And for the toilet paper to be transparent enough to project the image, you would have to get one ply, which is very fragile.
It would get ripped to pieces in the camera. Listen, here's what you'd have to do. Here's ultimately what you'd have to do if you wanted to even attempt to do this, which I don't know why. You would have to literally film it on actual film and then print out each individual frame on a piece of toilet paper.
Well, there you go. Why don't we just do that?
Because that would take forever. And, again, I ask you, what the fuck is the point?
To be the first people in the world ever to present a film on toilet paper. It's like being the first man on the moon.
But listen, no, it's really not. Because here's the other thing. Nobody's gonna know unless we tell them.
Well, that's why you do cool things, so you can tell people about it.
But they wouldn't be able to see it, Dylan. Because in theory, if this works properly, they wouldn't be able to tell the difference between film and toilet paper film.
I mean, they would be able to tell the difference because it would be white.
No, it wouldn't be. What are you talking about?
It wouldn't even be black and white. It would just be like...
No, Dylan, if you do what I said and you printed out each frame on toilet paper, it'd literally be like a flip book, is what it would be like. It would be like a printed image with light through. It'd look like shit.
Well, here's what this basically boils down to.
You ever take a flashlight and put it behind a piece of paper and you can see through the paper?
Yeah.
It's what it would look like.
Well, there you go. Problem solved.
It would look like a fucking, what are those things called? An overhead projector. That's what it would look like. It would look like shit, is what I'm saying.
Well, it is toilet paper.
Not that kind of shit. It's just a bad idea.
This movie, shit. Well, what did you expect us to put on toilet paper?
Right, so I literally took a piece of dung, right? Piece of shite. And I just rubbed it along the fucking toilet paper. And then I put it in the projector, and that's what we're looking at. That is maybe the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
And that's how we invented hetero.
Right, that's how hetero was invented. Back in 1971?
So that when you run these random smearings of shit through the camera, it looks like a living blob of shit that is moving around.
Right, and then the fucking toilet paper went on fire, right? And then we ran out of the room. And then we survived. And now we have Godzilla vs. Hetero.
Like Alan Moore, none of this is true.
Alan Moore, everything you are saying is complete bullshit. No, it's not. It's true. I prayed in my serpent god and made it true.
I did it. I made a movie on toilet paper. Ask me what it means.
What does it mean?
Oh shit.
Stop asking me that question, but you asked me to ask you. I was being rhetorical.
I never expect anyone to ask me to actually take me up on it.
Right.
And then I don't have an answer. I just do things.
I'm just a maniac. I haven't taken my pills today. Stop grilling me. Alan Moore, just calm down and go home. I fucking will. I'm gonna go home and pray to my serpent god.
We all go a little.
And then
we all go a little bad sometimes.
Guess I'm gonna write. What are you gonna write? Watchmen 3: The Return. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be the next Watchmen. Well, yeah.
Followed by Watchmen 4: The Leaving Again.
Watchmen 4: Revenge. And then I'm gonna write Swamp Thing 2: Electric Boogaloo.
3 things.
You don't own the rights to Swamp Thing either.
I'm gonna write a spin-off, right? 3 Things and a Baby. It's gonna be about 3 Swamp Things who adopt a baby.
Wait, there are 3 Swamp Things now? Right.
And they adopt.
Who are they? They're just things from the swamp.
And they adopt this baby. And that's pretty much it.
So I haven't really hammered out the plot yet. It's gonna be more of like a character study.
Of a baby.
Of how 3 Swamp Things take care of a baby. Because haven't you wondered, right? Like, what if Swamp Thing had to take care of a baby?
And one of the Swamp
I can
Things...
honestly say, in my many years of reading comic books, that I have never wondered, what would Swamp Thing do if he had to take care of a baby?
And right, there's all this internal conflict, right? Because, like, one of the Swamp Things is a die-hard conservative, but the other Swamp Thing is a bleeding heart liberal. And,
right.
Like, I smell a sitcom.
And the other one, third Swamp Thing...
He's just caught in the middle. He just wants to raise the fucking baby.
Care.
He just wants to raise the fucking baby.
He wants to fucking be a good father, and he doesn't give a shit.
It's very compelling.
It's gonna be good shit. You should watch it, right?
The kid would be fucked up, though.
You should watch it. You're pitching it to us right now.
I mean, you should watch it when I get done.
Once it's done, you should watch it, because it's gonna be good. We're not making this, Alan.
Provided I don't get home and forget about it, and then write something else.
And then come in tomorrow and pitch you a completely different idea. He's been coming in for 10 years, pitching us different ideas every day. Even if we greenlight the idea, he pitched us the next day.
It's like, Alan, why do you keep coming in here and pitching us ideas? We're not even, like, pitch people. Like, we're
Alan, this is the local Dunkin' Donuts!
We're a couple of YouTube personalities. I don't know what you're doing here, man. We're not even like A-list YouTube personalities. We're
Z-grade. We have 150 listeners, which is good. But it's like we have no power.
At times we might be elevated to like a low Y grade.
Yeah, maybe. On a special week. Maybe if some Godzilla news comes out, then we might get some street cred. But usually, we're just nobodies.
Turns out we're very popular at conventions, but other than that...
Yeah. Exactly. But aside from that, we're just fucking nobodies, dude. So I had this idea, right? God damn it.
3 Swamp Things.
Having to live in the same house as a guy who chops down trees for a living.
Right, so Swamp Thing wakes up, right, and finds that his portion of the Florida Everglades has been completely de-swamped.
De-swamped! What does de-swamping entail, Alan Moore? Well, it means the swamp that's there is de-swamped.
There is no more swamp there. They've drained out all the water, and they've cut down the trees, and they've killed all the gators.
Killed all the gators, and then it's no longer a swamp.
And then
it's more of like a dirt patch with some mud.
And they ran out the Cajuns, and
right, and they're no longer raging.
They killed all the voodoo people.
Right,
locked away all the white zombies, and now it's a housing development.
Then they fought Gambit, right? Because Gambit is from the south, and he lost, and they de-swamped the swamp.
They killed Gambit, right? Strung his intestines on the couch chair.
Alan, hang on, go back for a second. We're writing a Swamp Thing story. We can't have Gambit in it. He's a Marvel character.
So is Gambit.
No, I'm saying Gambit is a Marvel character.
You just said Swamp Thing was a Marvel character.
No, I said we're writing a Swamp Thing comic, and you just put Gambit in it. He's a Marvel character.
Oh, okay, I get you now. Oh, right. Did I say Swamp Thing? I meant Man Thing.
I was listening to this cool cat on one of the podcasts, Jacob Baker, the Kaiju Maker, and apparently he really likes Man Thing.
So here's the idea, right? So Man Thing and Swamp Thing are raising a baby.
Right.
Meanwhile, they're also running against each other for president.
That mad crossover. It's like the campaign, but with Swamp Thing and Man Thing.
Do you have any other ideas, Alamar? Alright, listen, right. Rob Schneider is a Swamp Thing.
It's a Swamp Thing.
And he's the mayor.
Wait, hang on. So you want to reboot Swamp Thing with Rob Schneider? Not quite.
What do you mean, not quite?
Oh, well, listen. I want to make a Swamp Thing movie with Rob Schneider, where Swamp Thing isn't really Swamp Thing.
Wait, here's an idea, right? What if Rob Schneider is the baby?
And Swamp Thing is actually played by Adam Sandler. Alan Moore, get the fuck out. Leave now. Well, hang on now. You go judging me.
I didn't even tell you the idea for the CG King Kong show.
Get the fuck out, Alan Moore. I don't want to hear your shit anymore.
I'll take it to Netflix.
Netflix is going to take it and they're going to buy it. And they're gonna get rich off of it, and you guys are gonna feel like a bunch of right cunts you are. I bet, Alan Moore. Go pitch it to Netflix and see what they think. Oh, bloody will.
A month later, we see an advertisement coming soon to Netflix. Swamp Things.
Swamp Things. And we're like, fuck.
It's just an ongoing story.
I feel like the fifth Beatle now.
It's an ongoing series about the struggle of Swamp Things in our society.
The prejudice they face.
Having to accept their swampy fate.
Their swampy fate! They're gonna suffer from swamp ass, right? Whenever they fight, they cause fires. And they kill people.
I imagine fungal infections must be very common among Swamp Things.
Well, no, because they're made of fungus, so they wouldn't have that problem. Right?
True. What if it's like invasive fungus?
Like, well, no, what if it's like a flesh-eating, like, bacteria?
If you're made of fungus, and you get infected by a different fungus, that's gotta be like having cancer or something.
That's gotta be like having cancer or something. The greatest declaration in the history of the Demons from Outer Space. If you, like, have fungus, man, you're already made of fungus?
It's like cancer, man.
Whoa, man. What'd I give my dog, man?
Wouldn't it be great? And wouldn't it be awesome if I, like, owned a dog, man?
You do have a dog.
Awesome, man.
That's awesome, man. So, Dylan, about this King Kong show.
I believe fucking Tommy Chong is on Dancing with the Stars this season.
That's nuts. Isn't a YouTube dude on there too?
No, it's some chick I've never heard of from YouTube, yeah. But like fucking Tommy Chong. And the crazy thing is he's not bad for a 70-something-year-old man.
You know what would make me watch?
What?
Is if they put Alan Moore on Dancing with the Stars.
So, Alan, what'd you think about that tango you just did? Well, I'll tell you, I prayed to my serpent god.
I prayed to my serpent god, and I think he gave me the power to do a right good job.
Just ask my dance partner, Frank Miller.
Yeah, what he said.
So
when do we write Watchmen 3: The Return?
Next week we're going to be performing as Swamp Things.
And it's going to be to the song Raw by Katy Perry.
Will you shave for the Swamp Thing role? No.
Because the hairs on our chins will shout, shave us, and will whisper,
No.
No.
For the split second that he says no, he suddenly, like, his voice changes to Rorschach's voice, and I'll whisper, no. They're just like, what happened to your voice there?
What voice?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just sitting here, an American girl in an American world.
Would you like to see my serpent god?
What does that even entail? Well, I'll tell you, Zip. Oh, God!
It's my penis.
I love how straight up he's just like, here's my penis.
It doesn't bite.
It's not like a real serpent. It's not going to constrict you and bite you. It's just going to kind of look at you.
It doesn't bite like a rattlesnake. It's more like a spitting cobra, honestly.
You ever watch Steve Irwin, right, when he gets spit in the eye by a cobra?
I promise you, it's not a stingray.
It's not going to stab you in the face and then kill you.
Alan, we're still on live. Alan, we're still on live television.
What's television?
Hello, America. Would you like to see my serpent god?
Would you like to see my serpent god? Why aren't they responding to me? Are you ignoring me? Answer me, America.
I call him Hercules.
Oh, God. So, Dylan, do you want to talk about this King Kong thing?
I think we'd better.
So let's just read the article, and we'll talk about it as it goes on. Netflix and 41 Entertainment have teamed up to produce an original CGI animated series which will follow the exploits of King Kong over 30 years into the future. Over a whole 30 years, Dylan. We'll be 50.
I miss cartoons. And I also miss...
I miss good cartoons.
What I mean is, I miss cartoons that are actually cartoons.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I'm not really all for this though. Anyway, so let's read on. Check out the official synopsis for Kong, King of the Apes. So the show is called Kong, King of the Apes.
Okay.
I don't know why. Is there going to be more than one ape? He's going to be the king of?
Maybe. I mean, he's got to have a species bred. I can only hope that he has a red-headed mate and a white son.
Oh, white son. Well, hang on. Have you read the plot synopsis? Do you know what the show is about, Dylan?
No fucking idea.
You don't know? Oh, this is going to be good. All right, I'm going to field your reaction. I'm not even going to say anything. I was running commentary. I'm just going to read it, and I want you to just react. You ready?
Let's do this.
All right. Kong, King of the Apes will start out as a feature-length film that will be followed by 12 half-hour episodes. It's going to start off as a movie, and they're going to do 12 half-hour episodes.
Oh, good.
The story won't be a retread of the events of Skull Island.
But that movie hasn't even come out yet.
Yeah, exactly. Now, and by the time this comes out, when will this be coming out? I don't know. It'll tell us later. But instead be set in 2050, The far-off future of 2050.
My God, when flying cars exist and dinosaurs once again roam the earth.
Well, you're not far off, Dylan, because the show will deal with the eighth wonder of the world being framed and hunted by giant robotic dinosaurs.
Framed for what?
We'll get into that in a second.
Did he kill Marvin Acme?
Yes.
The gorilla cacked him last night.
He's going to team up with Bob Hoskins, and they're going to drive around in a talking car.
No, I just picture a giant robotic dinosaur being like, "This is how we handle things down in Skull Island."
Avi Arad will produce the show. Big Marvel guy.
Oh, Avi Arad. Well, he did a fine job with those Spider-Man pictures.
Yeah, he sure did.
Well, the second one is very good.
All right, here we go. Here's the plot synopsis. Oh, God, you ready for this? Because I'm not. Set in 2050, Kong becomes a wanted fugitive after wreaking havoc at Alcatraz Island's Natural History and Marine Preserve.
Since when does Alcatraz Island have a natural history and marine preserve?
I got a suspicion they did this because there was a deleted scene in Godzilla 2014 where Godzilla went on top of Alcatraz Island.
I wish they had shown that. That's actually a nice reference because in the 80s script,
Yep.
Godzilla ends his journey on Alcatraz Island.
Yep, and also destroys...
by ends his journey, I mean he fucking dies.
Yeah, he gets his fucking ass blown to pieces.
It's like some younger.
Doesn't he also destroy the Golden Gate Bridge in that script?
If I'm remembering correctly, yes, because you can't have him there and not destroy the Golden Gate Bridge, right?
Right. Godzilla comes to San Francisco, he has to destroy the Golden Gate Bridge.
That's just par for the course, you know. Godzilla destroyed the Golden Gate Bridge. Magneto destroyed the Golden Gate Bridge. Apes
walked across it.
Yeah, man.
Trespasser destroyed it.
It's true. I forgot about Trespasser. He destroyed
Superman saved kids on it. Did I ever tell you that? There's a scene in the first Superman movie that's almost like a shot-for-shot matchup with the scene in Godzilla 2014 with the kids on the bus before Godzilla destroys it.
This is when the earthquake is happening, right?
Yeah, and they're on the bus.
Interesting story. I recently rewatched that movie, and I noticed the Golden Gate Bridge scene.
Yeah. See, I did too when I recently rewatched it. So the bridge starts shaking, and there's these kids on this bus, and it's shot through their point of view. And then right when they're about to fall off, Superman saves them. And I was reminded of the shot in 2014 where Godzilla blocks the missiles.
Yeah, I recently rewatched the first two Superman movies, which, by the way, this is a tad off topic. Richard Donner cut's fucking amazing.
Not seen it until recently?
No.
Yeah, I love that movie. It's great. Except for the ending. The ending makes no sense.
I agree, but at the same time, I was never a fan of the magic kiss, so I'm like...
Yeah, well...
At least they're using something that they established in the previous movie.
Richard Donner had his hands tied. He had no choice, so...
Or it was the other guy who came up with the kiss thing.
Well, no, I don't mean that. I mean, in terms of cutting it all those years later, he had no choice but to do that ending, unless he wanted to leave the magic kiss in, which he didn't.
See, one problem I have with the whole turning back time thing on a concept level, I was like, oh, well, what about Zod? And then it shows Zod and them going back into the Phantom Zone thing, and I'm like, oh, okay, but isn't that missile just going to run into them again?
Well, that was my problem. The other thing is like
they should have shown him going back and preventing the missile from crashing into them, because they didn't show that, and now I just have to assume that all that shit is going to happen all over again, except this time maybe he'll know how to handle it a little better.
The other problem is that when there's a scene after that where he goes back to the diner where he fought that dude, and they remember it.
Yeah. Because there are two moments where they directly reference the scene earlier in the diner. There's the moment where the guy's like, I just rebuilt this place and it cost me a fortune, which you could assume that he's not actually talking about that incident, that he's talking about something else that this asshole has done in there, so that's not bad. But then there's the part at the end where Clark looks at him and they're like looking at him all surprised and they're like, oh, I've been lifting weights.
Yeah. Definitely. It makes no sense. Makes absolutely no fucking sense. But I still love that movie.
He should have gone back to the diner after he defeated Zod, but before he turned back time.
Yeah, absolutely.
which would have been a terrible pacing-wise, but it would have made sense.
Or just not worried about it and just moved on.
I don't know. I like that diner scene though.
Yeah, I like the first one.
It reminds me of the truck scene in Man of Steel.
It does a little bit, doesn't it?
I
have a feeling they were making a reference to that in Man of Steel.
I like every now and then when Superman drops the whole Boy Scout thing. It's just like, all right, I'm gonna fuck you up.
He's like, you know what? Fuck you. I know I'm supposed to be like truth, justice, American way, and all that, but this guy really tickled my pickle. Fuck you.
As far as I'm concerned,
now Superman's pissed.
As far as I'm concerned, screwing over people who have upset you is the American way.
I think so too.
You go, Superman.
Yeah, Superman, you rock. Batman, you're still cool, but Superman, he's just the... Just a series of guttural noises to represent his feelings on Superman. He's completely lost the power of human speech. It's really quite sad. So, Bill, you gonna review all the James Bond movies?
Still waiting for the even darker than Man of Steel reboot of Superman, where he's like, "My planet is dead.
My planet is dead. My father died in a tornado that I could have easily saved him from."
So, King Kong.
Yeah, King Kong. What most humans on the hunt for the formidable animal don't realize, though, is that Kong was framed, dun dun dun, by an evil genius who plans to terrorize the world with an army of enormous robotic dinosaurs.
Doctor Who?
I guess so. Or maybe a character. They're probably not going to call him Doctor Who because,
I hope to God that they do.
I kind of do too, but I doubt it.
Or no, just combine those two characters and just have Madam X be the evil genius and the mastermind.
Madam X is a little generic too, but it's better than Doctor Who.
Doctor Who? No, they just barely changed his name. Madam X.
He's fucking voiced by Matt Smith.
Madam X and her evil henchman, Dr. Wynn.
Doctor question mark.
Doctor what?
So that's the whole... So I guess that explains why Kong is so big and is still able to fight dinosaurs, because they're gigantic robots in this movie, or in this show, starting off of the movie.
As the only beast...
Doesn't that make perfect sense, Dylan?
As the only beast strong enough to save humanity from the mechanical dinosaurs, Kong must rely on the help of 3 kids who know the truth about him.
They know that he's gay.
I'm only down for this if at the end of the season the villains then create Mechanic Kong. Yes.
It sounds really dopey, but listen, guys. It's for fucking kids.
But
this is for young kids.
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
IDW needs to do like a gritty King Kong book to counterbalance. Let the kids have their child-friendly Kong and give me some like gritty ass King Kong fucking.
Wasn't that supposedly what
Give me a gritty ass story about King Kong solving mysteries in New York or something.
So you do fucking Fables, but with King Kong.
Of all the islands in all the world, she had to get stranded on mine.
The Kong among us. Do you know what I'm making reference to there, Dylan?
What?
Have you played the Wolf Among Us video game? The Telltale's thing?
No.
Have you ever heard of it, The Wolf Among Us?
No.
Well, it's based on a comic book series which I recently started reading called Fables, which is fucking awesome because it's all the classic fables living in New York City, disguised as human beings, just fucking living in this crime-ridden city.
Sounds
and
that show that I've never watched but I've seen previews for on TV.
Once Upon a Time?
That and what's the other one? Grimm.
That is what everybody is saying. It is nothing like that whatsoever. It is violent, filled with cursing and sex.
The other one's called Grimm, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. No, this is way better. Because you know who the protagonist is?
Who's the protagonist?
The big bad wolf. And he's a fucking detective.
Does he eat pigs?
Well, no, the thing is that they had to leave the Fable world because they were being hunted down by this warrior called the Adversary who was like going just committing genocide against them.
Was this game made by the same people who did the Ultimate Spider-Man game? Because I'm looking at some stills and like the animation.
No, it was made by the same people who made the Walking Dead game.
Because the animation.
Telltale. They also did the that Back to the Future Make Your Own Adventure game.
Well, then the animation in this looks very similar to like the character modeling and from the from the Ultimate Spider-Man.
Well, they're both based on comic books, so it makes sense. And his name is Bigby Wolf, and he's the protagonist in the game. He's not the only protagonist in the comics, but it's awesome, dude. It's fucking awesome. He's like this super chill, he's fucking awesome. He's like, it's so badass.
So what does he? What does he do?
He's a detective.
Oh, so he like solves mysteries and.
Well, he's the sheriff of the Fable community because they have a separate government from the real people, which they call Mundies, like mundane people, because they're not magical.
I see. So are there like fucking like leprechauns and shit?
Everything. The Jersey Devil, all of like the storybook characters. And it's like they make it all part of the same continuity. So you know how like Little Red Riding Hood and
so like it's some like gritty ass like Shrek shit.
That is exactly what I thought, except it's way cooler. Because it's like, but they don't write it like
Shrek is love, Shrek is life.
No, Shrek is not love and Shrek is not life. Here's the thing, I wrote a post about it on Facebook, and I was like, what really attracts me to this series is that it's these characters, these children fairy tale characters put in like in this gritty adult situation with cursing and blood and sex and drugs and all this stuff. But they don't how sometimes when you'll do that, like you'll put you'll do like this dark and gritty like you'll do this, like all the characters in Shrek that are played more seriously and like played for more of an edgy comedy. They're kind of parodies of themselves, right? They're not like the actual characters. They're not playing those characters straight. This is like, we're putting these characters in a ridiculous situation that they would never be in, but we're going to play it totally straight. Because we don't care. Mm-hmm. So it's like, the big bad wolf is a detective, deal with it. It's really cool. I've read the first 2 volumes so far, and it's really, really good.
Seems like an odd choice.
What?
Using the big bad wolf as your detective.
They explain it as, they do explain it. I forget why. You know why? Because he, towards the end of their being in the, in their like stay at, in their homeland, he saved Snow White and her sister from the Adversary, and then he ran away. And he's kind of like, he's taken this vow of solitude. And she goes and finds him later, and she just goes, "You saved us all once, would you be up to do it again?" And he's like, "I guess I don't have much of a choice, because what else am I going to do?" So, the thing is, that he's not a werewolf.
You know what this is vaguely reminding me of?
What?
Remember that fan film with all the, like, Nintendo characters?
There Will Be Brawl.
Yeah, but it was in this, like, gritty ass.
It's just like that. It's just like that, yeah.
I need to watch that again. That was a while ago.
It's exactly like that. It's just like that. It's really good. I'm really enjoying it. But it's also like, it's not overly dark and brooding. Like it's not like an Alan Moore comic. I mean, it's dark, but it's not like. It's also very fun. And Bigby Wolf is just so chill. It's really enjoyable. You should give it a read. It's good shit.
Hmm.
It was put out by Vertigo, so it's technically a DC book, but not really. It's not like it's in the DC universe or anything.
Right. Fucking Batman shows up.
Yeah, fucking Batman's just like, hey, Bigby Wolf, fuck you.
My parents are dead.
And Bigby Wolf's like, so are mine. You don't see me fucking crying.
Superman shows up. My planet is dead. Bigby and Batman are both like, well, I think he's got us there.
Yeah, I think he's got us there. Bigby had a fucked up past. Like they do the origin of the big bad wolf in this, and this is kind of, I guess this is spoilers for well, you know how I got introduced to this.
So they address the fact that this is a character that exists both in the Little Red Riding Hood story and the Three Little Pigs story.
Yeah, well they make use of that. That's the thing. So they have the Three Little Pigs mad at Bigby because the Fable community is split up into two separate groups: those that can pass off as normal humans and those that can't. And the ones that can't pass off as humans go upstate to this place called the Farm, and that's where they live. And Bigby thinks that they're going to put him there when he first moves into this. It's called Fabletown, and they're like, well, they've banned you up there because you ate a lot of their family. And the Three Little Pigs run it, so they don't want you up there. So they nurse like this grudge against Bigby. And one of them, Colin, one of the Three Little Pigs, keeps going to Fabletown, New York City, because he wants to live in the city as one of the more human-looking Fables. And he keeps like breaking into Bigby's house and staying there, saying that it's penance for what he did to his house. It's good shit. And then in the Telltale game, The Wolf Among Us, they have Bigby have this fight with the Woodsman, who is the guy who cut him open and pulled Little Red Riding Hood out of him.
Right, not to be confused with the Huntsman from Snow White.
Exactly. Who was also in it.
Of course he is. Because
Snow White is Bigby's love interest. It's
throw in the fucking Headless Horseman. They're all there. Well, who the fuck
he is in it.
Oh, is he really? All right then.
Yeah. Dude, they're all in there. Name it, they're in it. Prince Charming, fucking dude, all of the Rudyard Kipling characters are in it. Bagheera, Shere Khan.
Is Captain Hook in it?
Not that I've seen.
Well,
it's
there
certainly
you go.
Possible. Is he a Fable though?
I don't know. He was in Shrek though.
Beauty and the Beast are in it.
If they're in Shrek, they count in my opinion. And he was in Shrek, and he sang "Hooked on a Feeling."
Hooked on a feeling. Jack from Jack and the Beanstalk is in it.
Is Rumpelstiltskin in it?
Not yet. I know he shows up later. Ichabod Crane's in it.
Is fucking, I don't know.
They're all in there, dude. They're all in there. The three bears and Goldilocks fucks the little bear. I shit you not.
Is fucking Rapunzel there?
Yeah, she's in there somewhere.
Is fucking
Cinderella's in it. Yep.
At any point, did Bigby, with any of these princesses, fuck her right in the pussy?
He does with Snow White later.
Well, there you go. See, now you have my attention.
Yeah, there you go. It's good shit. You should definitely check it out. Bigby's a really interesting character because he just doesn't give a fuck.
Do you know which issue it is when he...
Everybody hates him.
Do you know
but he just does not give a fuck.
Do you know what issue it is when he fucks right in the pussy, so I can just read that one?
It's later on. I've only read the first 2 volumes, and there's a bunch of them. It's a very, very long series.
How many issues are there per volume?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, they do it by story arc.
Oh.
So no matter how long the story is, that's how many they collect. The first volume is, but it's all got backup features and there are actual written prose fables at the end of each book. That's a great question though. How long is the first volume aside from the backup features? Because the backup features are good though.
Is the fucking Pied Piper in the book?
Probably. But dude, fucking Shere Khan is in it, and he's a badass.
What about fucking Hansel and Gretel? Are they in there hunting witches?
They're mentioned. There's 5 issues in the first volume, and it was only $13. So, right? Yeah, $13. It was a fucking steal. The first volume was it was only $13.
$13.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like $13.
Yeah, it is. So Dylan, what do you think? Fables or the new King Kong show? I'm going with Fables.
Wait, what am I choosing between them for?
Which one do you want? Do you want Fables or do you want the new King Kong cartoon? Bigby Wolf or the fucking blue fat Kong? Pick one.
I mean, Fables is a book I would have to buy. This is going to be on Netflix. Which I pay for anyway.
Yeah.
So.
I want to see a Fables TV show, though. Like, The Wolf Among Us is kind of like... I mean, it kind of is that because it's a point-and-click game, but even still.
Oh, yeah, like the Walking Dead game.
That is I mentioned that earlier, so yes.
That I played for, like, a day.
Yeah.
And then got to the train, never played it again.
You didn't like it?
No, it wasn't that I didn't like it. I actually really enjoyed it. I just lost interest.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. I never beat Grand Theft Auto 5, even though I think it's one of the greatest video games ever made. Which I guess isn't really fair, but I still feel that way.
The problem with Grand Theft Auto games is I just rack up too many stars too quickly. Because I don't steal cars.
With fucking Grand Theft Auto, right? Is that I can't pray to my serpent god.
Because I don't spend that much time committing any Grand Theft Auto. I spend most of the time committing homicide.
Dylan, you scare me sometimes, not gonna lie.
I just run around Grand Theft Auto fucking cutting bitches' throats.
Oh dear. Alright, I'm gonna leave now.
GTA 5 is great though, because there's all these great like swipes that he does sometimes with the knife.
Yeah. Wait, which one?
Where it's like, oh my god, that was brutal. What do you mean, which one?
There are 3 characters.
Oh, any of them.
Oh, they're all good at cutting bitches' throats.
I don't know how the game determines like which like knife attack it's going to use. I just push the button and see what happens.
You're fucked up, Dylan. You know that?
Most of the time, it's just stabbing them underhanded, and I'm like, that's boring.
But anyway, so, yeah.
Then there's the other great thing about Grand Theft Auto. In the words of Clarence Boddicker, guns, guns, guns.
Guns. But anyway,
So this King Kong show seems interesting.
I will watch the first episode, and that'll probably be it.
Well, the first episode is a feature-length movie, so...
I will watch a minute of it, and I will judge it based on that minute. Did you watch the early 2000s Kong show? Just called Kong, the animated series. It was a rip-off of the 98 Godzilla show.
No, I think I caught like one episode. I don't remember.
It's not the worst thing ever, shockingly. It's actually pretty entertaining.
But is it the best thing ever?
No, it's a little bit... It's not as well made as Godzilla the series is, but it's about as entertaining. The animation isn't as good as and the writing isn't as good, though. Which is not necessarily the greatest inspiration of confidence.
I have sort of high cartoon standards.
Is it worth watching every episode? Nah, but there are a couple of good ones that stand out. The mythos is actually pretty decent. I'm a big proponent of if you're going to do a sequel, if you're going to like do a King Kong franchise, the best thing to do is probably do a genetic engineering thing. Clone Kong.
Clone Kong.
Yeah.
And you call it that instead of King Kong, it's Clone Kong.
I'd pay to see that.
Clone Kong is attacking New York. Oh God.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
Oh Lord, what is I gonna do?
Oh my God, you guys.
Oh my gosh, guys. You see on the news? Clone Kong destroying New York, guys. Okay?
It's Godzilla versus Clone Kong.
Cat, I blame you for this.
Oh my god. I was watching South Park earlier, right?
Of course you were. When do you not watch South Park?
When I'm dead. But I was rewatching some of my DVDs, and
Alan Moore, what are you doing here? I was watching South Park, and I was praying to my serpent god.
I was watching, I think, an episode from season 15. And there's a moment where Cartman's like, I beat you to it, Cal. And Cal's like, my name is not Cal. Cartman's like, that's Q, whatever, Cal.
Oh, I remember this. I call my friend Kyle. Cat.
You know, that was kind of a thing when we were on the trip.
Yeah.
Now,
hey, Cat.
And now every time I hear Cartman say Cal, even though I've never met your friend, that's what I think of.
Cat. What are you doing, Cat? Get away from the cat.
He was like, my name is not Cal. He's like, that's Q, whatever, Cal.
Does Cartman have issues?
What do you mean?
Like, just in the speech department? Because he sounds fucked up.
I mean,
something happened.
He's got issues.
She was dropped on his head or something.
He's got a lot more to worry about than speech issues, though. He's pretty fucked up in his brain.
He's pretty fucked up. I remember seeing like a clip from an episode. My dad was in the room too, where they were trying to attract pedophiles with butters.
Oh yeah.
And my dad was like, "What the fuck is this?" And I'm like, "It's South Park." He's like, "That's fucking horrifying." And I was like, "I'm sure that it's making some kind of point about society." And then I wasn't so sure.
Oh, the show is it's like, no lie, South Park is like the smartest written show on television. Because it's genius satire. Every episode is just an example of genius satire. I'm
going to ask you what it means of why was Butters being chased by pedophiles.
I don't remember. That's an older one.
Yeah, this is years ago.
I have to rewatch it. If I'm thinking of the episode, I think I'm thinking of where they did the whole NAMBLA thing, the National Man-Boy Love Association, which is a real organization. Scare.
Yeah, it is. It sure is.
Yep, that exists.
It pains me.
Well,
well, I'll tell you. Do you even have to, is that even necessary to say, that we don't, that being a thing is not cool with us? Is that necessary? Do we have to say that, or is that, a given?
Do we have to come out and be
I have the controversial opinion, I don't approve of people who fuck children.
What?
I know I'm going to step on a few feet there, but I have the controversial view that pedophilia is wrong, and the people who do it are monsters.
Truly, sir, you are a bigot.
I'll take that. If that's what being a bigot is, I'll take that.
What were we talking about?
I don't know, Dylan. We're talking about pedophiles.
How did we get to pedophiles?
I don't know. I don't know. We've got quite a bit. We're quite a bit in. So I think we should start to wrap up because we have a couple things to announce. So I think we should get those out of the way, and then we can wrap up the show. So Dylan, as we mentioned earlier, Godzilla Odyssey Issue 2 is available in the description below if you'd like to check it out and read it.
It is available, yes. Yeah.
And you can like it, you can love it, you can review it, and you can enjoy the hell out of it. Dylan, would you like to give a brief rundown?
A brief rundown of what?
Of the story, to attract their attention, since you're the writer, the auteur, if you will.
Oh, okay. So Godzilla pops up in the DBZ universe. Dragon Ball Z for you noobs. Just in case those 3 letters weren't obvious enough. So Godzilla pops up in the Dragon Ball Z universe. Hijinks ensue.
That's pretty much the extent of the story. Having read it multiple times, I think that's about as accurate of a description you could give.
I mean, it's
great. If you're a Dragon Ball Z fan, It's perfect. It is everything I wanted from that crossover that Dylan put in there.
I mean, it's not exactly like you go into DBZ trying to write fucking Citizen Kane, obviously.
No, I mean, yeah, definitely not. I mean, if you enjoyed the first issue with all the references that I threw in with Showa Godzilla, and you feel the same way about, if you have the same familiarity with DBZ as you do with Showa Godzilla, you're gonna get it's just as filled with references and all the tropes are there. It's great.
I would hope that upon reading it, you would get the sensation, and Bill described this, so I know it worked on him, but yeah, obviously everyone's different, that you're watching a DBZ movie.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt about it. All the tropes are there.
So that was kind of what I aimed for.
Which I think is the main goal of what we were trying to do. This series is kind of, not that there isn't narrative worth to what we're doing. I think there certainly is.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely in terms of how we're writing Godzilla, I think there's a real narrative there. But in terms of the individual stories, it's more of like, this is fan service. And this is like, we're fans, we want to do everything. We're playing in a sandbox of this universe for a while with Godzilla in it. Let's do everything.
Yeah, now we've gone even further. Like, there's a difference between playing in the sandbox of Godzilla and, like, taking that sand and dumping it onto the wider beach that is pop culture in general.
Yeah, and it's really fun.
And that's what we've done. We created a premise that is genius in that we can do whatever the fuck we want.
Doesn't matter. You can do anything.
And we will.
Yeah, we will do anything. We don't even care, Dylan. We don't even care.
Godzilla versus Nambla.
Godzilla versus Nambla. I'd pay to see that.
It's all about him. It's basically the same plot as Space Godzilla. They kidnap Minya.
No, listen. Here's all it is. They've got to have like a building or something, right? Like the Nambla building. I don't know.
No, he fights Namka, the National Man Kaiju Love Association. Namkla.
Oh, that's genius. It's like an allegory. There you go.
Genius. Screw what we were planning for issue 3.
Yeah, fuck. Godzilla Odyssey's over now. It's Godzilla versus Namka.
Namkla. Wait, I forgot the C. I mean the L a few minutes ago. The L.
I'm sorry I fucked it up, Dylan. I know.
I know.
I know that this means a lot to you.
It's okay because I fucked it up the first time, so I don't blame you. But don't.
You have to pay me in blood, though.
I don't blame you. Just don't fucking do it again.
So you can read Godzilla Odyssey issue 2, Battle for West City, in the description below. Got a lot of positive feedback for it, so thank you to everybody following the series. We've had a very strong positive reaction to the series, so thank you for that. It's great to know that there are some Godzilla fans out there enjoying it. That's why we did it. It's for the fans and for us as fans. So I'm glad that's what we set out to do. So I'm glad that we've succeeded at that.
So everybody go read Godzilla Odyssey issue 2, or else you will make Chi-Chi mad.
Yeah, Chi-Chi will be pissed, and she's going to chase you. If there's any one thing in the entire universe that Goku and Godzilla fear, it's Chi-Chi.
Indeed. Everyone fears Chi-Chi.
Yes.
All hail to Chi-Chi.
All hail her, for she is God. The other announcement that I wanted to kind of seed here, because it's roughly a month away, and I think we should probably build it up. We're not going to say what exactly the details are, but we should build it up, is the 1-year anniversary of the Demons from Outer Space, Dylan. We're going to turn a year old.
We do have a plan in place.
Yeah, we know exactly what we're doing. So we have the plan in place. So we're not going to do what we did for SOS and be like, hey, what do you guys want to see? We know what we're doing. We don't need your input.
We don't care, honestly. If there's anything you should have gleaned from this last year of DFOids, it's that we do not give a shit.
Yeah, exactly. We just don't care. Like, we just spout bullshit on this show.
We're crazy, man.
We're fucking crazy! We're gonna make the 1-year anniversary on bum paper.
He's desperate. He might just do it.
We're gonna transcribe the entire episode on a piece of toilet paper, and you're just gonna roll it out and read it. And that's gonna be the 1-year anniversary.
That'll be even more complicated than the whole how to make film into toilet paper, how to make sound elements into toilet paper.
That would be impossible. Literally impossible.
I accept the challenge.
You have fun with that. So look out for that. We'll of course advertise that more as it gets closer. It's going to be big. It's going to just to tease it. It is going to be something that is very important to the roots of our podcast.
I didn't know we had roots.
Yeah, we have roots. The origins of our podcast will be very important in what we're going to do for the episode.
See, everyone learns something new about this show every day. I did, and I'm on it.
Here's the fun thing we'll do. If you can guess what you think we're going to do for the 1 year anniversary in the comments or on Facebook and Toho Nation, wherever, or on Twitter. By the way, you can follow me on Twitter at Bill_Worcester. You can do that shit. Nobody does it. Follow me on Twitter.
Do you even tweet anything there?
Occasionally.
Because, I mean, if nobody's following you, what would be the point?
I tweet things occasionally. I tweeted today, actually.
Oh.
But speaking of Twitter, I tweeted a Twitter exclusive. We had a good piece of Demons from Outer Space fan art. I texted this to you. Did you see it? The Godzilla 2014 DVD case.
Oh yeah. And actually,
the Zazubaar edition.
Actually, I had seen that a few days previous to that because the guy who did it also posted it in Toho Nation.
I ignored it. Oh no, I just didn't see it. So I literally found it randomly on Google, and I was like, I saw it and I was like, oh, that's cool fan art. And then I saw it and it said, I saw the Demons from Outer Space logo on, and I was like, what the fuck? And then I saw that it was fan art, and I was like, that's fucking awesome. That's fantastic. So whoever did that, good on you. It's fantastic.
I forget the guy's name, sadly.
I know that his DeviantArt name is Kaiser Grand Ghidorah, I think.
That tells me nothing.
That's all I know. So if you're listening, I'm pretty sure you are because you're obviously a fan.
Hey, guy that did that, good on you, mate.
I laughed for a long time. It was really good. Fantastic. I also love the released in Brazil as Gorgo versus Cloverfield. I also love the idea that he posed of King Kong killing Godzilla and swimming around in a Godzilla suit. That was hysterical. I thought that was great. So, good on you, sir. So you can see that on my Twitter feed if you want to follow me on Twitter for that reason, or you can just find it on YouTube or on not on YouTube, on Google or on Toho Nation.
Oh, I forgot.
You know what? You don't have to follow me on Twitter to find it. Actually,
I forgot to mention this when we were talking about Godzilla Odyssey, but there is a Facebook page.
Oh yeah, good point. We have a Facebook page for Godzilla Odyssey that you can like to get updates on the series, of course, but also we release exclusive content.
Yes.
I think what might be nice, and we haven't really started this trend yet, but I'm going to try and do it since you did one for the first month. I'm going to try and put out we should try and put out one exclusive behind the scenes type video per month on that thing. Right.
I know what I want to do the month after we release issue 3.
Yes, definitely. Definitely, I agree. By the way, guys, we're not going to tell you what issue 3 is yet because we want it to be a surprise. But it is. We put probably the most thought into it.
We have some details left to iron out, but I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's we have the basic plot, but we just don't have some of the details worked out. It's pretty exciting. It's a big deal, and we're very excited to finally release it. So a trailer for that will go up in a couple weeks. So look out for that. Very exciting. But otherwise, aside from that, of course, you should, as well as liking the Godzilla Odyssey Facebook page, which will also be in the description below, you should also like the SOS Network homepage for updates on everything connected to our group. Everybody posts there, all of our work, so...
I guess what I should probably do is be a little bit more specific as far as that original content. What was done was a video that you can only find on the Facebook page for Godzilla Odyssey. It's not on YouTube or anywhere else. In which I went into the specifics of designing the Godzilla Odyssey logo, as well as the Odyssey Goji design.
Yeah.
So that's what that was, in case you're curious.
Yeah. Also, we post all the art for the series on that page.
Yes.
So if you want to see the art that isn't just in the trailers, you can see it there.
Right.
Everything we do for the series, or everything Dylan does, I don't do it, goes up there. So
Bill does nothing.
I write. I'm an idea man. I just put all my work on Dylan. I'm like, Dylan, I had this idea for like a thing, and I want you to do it. And Dylan will oftentimes say no, and I'll be like, all right, and then it dies. A lot of really cool ideas that we've had have died that way because we're both just lazy.
We're just lazy bastards.
We really are. That's why this podcast works so well. We're very like-minded, but that's sometimes a really big problem because we're both super lazy.
I have so many things that I start that I don't finish. Yeah,
likewise. But I actually think that'll do it for the announcements, right?
But I intend to finish Odyssey.
Yes. Oh, that'll get done. For certain. We're probably gonna do a Halloween special for this podcast too. It won't go up on Halloween. It'll be like the SOS Halloween special, where it'll go up before. Just the SOS we do before Halloween, and the FOS we do before Halloween will be a Halloween special.
Because we're both big Halloween guys. I mean.
Yeah, as I will always say, this is my favorite time of the year, so I'm pumped and ready. I'm playing Moon Dance and shit. It's great. It's fantastic, is what it is.
I actually started my Halloween season early because the past week or so I was watching those Universal Monster Blu-rays.
You finished that yet?
Yes, I did.
Nice. Very nice.
Which you know what? I'll talk about that in more detail on the Halloween special. How about that?
Yeah, that sounds good. So look out for that. We can talk about some Universal movies, some Hammer movies. We'll tell some spooky tales. Since we do that, we'll spin some outrageous yarns. That's an old school DFOS reference.
Oh, yeah.
So that's my favorite DFOS title is Outrageous Yarns. Because it was such a great, I love, that might be my favorite episode of the podcast, is Outrageous Yarns.
Really?
Yeah.
As far as favorite titles go, I'm not really sure. I'm very fond of the Orca Torture Trivia Challenge.
That is a classic of DFOS history. I feel. I think our most defining episodes are the second, the fourth, I feel like Outrageous Yarns is because that's where the crazy science got established. I feel like ever since we talked about all those urban legends, we've been obsessed with weird science.
Here's the thing: I haven't listened back to any of these since they were first posted. I need to go back sometime because
I've been going back and listening, and the show ain't bad.
Let's see. Okay, so we had the pilot. And the Ghost of Piss Pans.
Don't read every title. We'll be here all night.
I also like Entertainingness.
Yeah, that was a good title.
Motherfucking Christmas is a classic.
Guy Hard in 3D.
I forgot that Orca Torture Trivia Challenge was the Thanksgiving special.
Yeah, it was the Thanksgiving special. Not that you can tell.
No.
I love Time of the Orca Squid.
Free the Beeps.
Free the Beeps.
I forgot about Free the Beeps.
Jumping the Zigra is a favorite of mine as well.
Compass and the Unnecessary Landmines. I can't believe that was 13.
That was a long time ago.
Mothra is Jesus.
It's 14. I can't read it on here. Hashtag fuck you pseudoscience.
Hanging with Hobbits, of course.
The Saga of Pappy Druitt.
The comedy stylings of 13-Year-Old Bill. That is one I remember fondly.
I like that episode too. The Duran Duran Varan Fan Van.
Oh, a staple.
Well, my favorite, you know what? Taking it back. My favorite title in one of my favorite episodes is Bullet in the Bathroom. I laugh at that one every single time.
I'm really fond of the conversation that spawned the title Charlie Final Wars. But the two right after that, Assless Chaps.
Chaps and Yugi Mans and Pokios.
Yugi Mans and Pokios might be my favorite title right now.
Then, of course, vicious rabid man-eating foxes. Happy Heine.
Oh, Scatman and Robin do Godzilla. That was an interesting chapter.
12 Years Megillah is another favorite of mine.
Oh, of course, the other classic, Today.
Episode 35 was originally supposed to be called The Love Lemur, but then I was listening back to it and I was editing it, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make it that long-ass name of the lemur.
Yeah, the cock-ring suffocate.
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, Shalokov, Listen, and The One Who Wars.
Oh god, I didn't even listen back to it, but I thought of a line from Shalokov the other day, and I started laughing hysterically.
What was it?
I started thinking of the moment where I was talking about Time Lord Vagina.
Ha ha!
And I was like, it's useful because it's bigger on the inside. And y'all were like, well, that's not what you would want. And I was like, yeah, but you could, like, store shit in it.
We were, like, dying, like, how would that help?
I don't know what you would store in it.
Your dignity. Well, we probably should have saved that for the fucking 1-year anniversary.
Oh, we'll be busy with other stuff.
Yeah, we'll be doing other stuff. So, I think that's going to do it for this week's episode of The Demons from Outer Space. Until next time, kids, I'm Bill Worster, a.k.a. Zazubaar.
And I'm Super DM64, reminding you to fuck her right in the pussy.
Fuck her right in the pussy. As always, kids, dem Germans, they be fucked up. Sign.